Good morning. I know I don't necessarily always say this, but this morning I have decided to do two videos today. So I would imagine just like with Tupac Shakur when he was at his uh, greatest, but taking it to another level with him, and how he was producing so much data, so much relevant information, that is currently what's happening to me in terms of me just doing what I do. And I cannot emphasize enough that what I'm reading in the readings is relevant for me because I need to hear it just as well. So I'm going to get right to it. I am will not be denied. It is possible that you will be unready to accept with this first chapter the complete realization of your own divine origin and power. Perhaps the subconscious prompters in your own mind are now urging you to the conclusion that you are insignificant as a bit of matter, accidentally sprung to life in a chaotic universe, without cause, without reason, without destiny, without power. Yet inside you, a still small voice knows the truth, and no matter the strength of your rebellion away from your true self, the fact of your spiritual existence, the great I am will not be denied. Have no fear then that you will be lost. If in this first chapter there are statements made and conclusions drawn with which you cannot find yourself in complete agreement, it is only because you are now contacting those hidden truths that may not be learned without struggle. They will not be learned without struggle. Struggle. This you have in store for you. These chapters are not merely expositions. An exposition is something that is stated and that you will have to find out for yourself. They are demonstrations. You will be given things to do, experiments to conduct, proofs to achieve that will convince you beyond all shadow of a doubt that there is a power far greater than you are, which you can use to make your life happy and fulfilled. The understanding of this power within yourself will expand your life to new and exciting horizons. It will embark you upon the greatest adventure it is possible to know while being in the body as a perfect spiritual form. The result of self-knowingness. Take, for example, your body. According to measurements, it is short, tall, slender, heavy, handsome, dainty, rugged, strong, or weak. Within the scope of these measurements, you have established to yourself in some degree what kind of person you are. When you first came into self-consciousness in this life, your body was with you. You didn't order it. You didn't go to the great tailor and say, make me a body with 2 arms and 2 legs and 2 eyes and 2 ears and a nose and a mouth, and make it better looking than other bodies and make it stronger than other bodies and make it so it won't wear out. If you had, you probably would have placed such an order, but you didn't have the chance. Your body was ordered for you. You possessed it in an infant state and grew within it, even as it grew around you. The spirit clothed itself with a gown of flesh. The result of all self-knowingness is form, and so your form or body is the result of your knowing yourself, being aware of yourself, Your body is the embodiment of life, is an expression of life, for through your body your spirit expresses itself. It matters not the form of your body, for it is perfect, even as the spirit within it is perfect. It is a perfect instrument for the expression of your spirit, and only through the misuse of spiritual law can cast from it its perfection. All illness and disease is thus the result of the misuse of spiritual law and the lack of spiritual understanding. For God is perfect, spirit is perfect, and the body that expresses them must be perfect. The answer to why you and your body came into existence is as simple as knowing yourself. You as spirit are eternal and never came into existence. Your body is simply a manifestation of your spirit, a changing form made from eternal substance, even as all form must change. It is difficult to analyze and probe this mystery with the conscious mind, but it is relatively simple to demonstrate the conscious mind the existence of infinite spiritual power. The elusive infinite. Man's words and conceptions with which he demonstrates his earthly control are hardly adequate in tackling the realms of the spirit. Take the word infinite. Man has decided that infinite means never ending. He understands a straight line. He claims to understand an infinitely long straight line. Yet if you were to take two cross lines infinitely long and attempt to uncross them, you would find that as you moved them away from each other, the point at which they were crossed moved further and further away from you. But since the lines never ended, they could never be uncrossed. You could, at the point you were grasping them, be holding them parallel to each other, and still they would not be uncrossed, even though, hey, they were straight lines. Obviously, the conscious mind, in its measurements and numbers, is scarcely capable of dealing with the infinite. Let me say that again, because I need to hear that for myself. Obviously, the conscious mind, in its measurements and numbers, is scarcely capable of dealing with the infinite. But I have chosen to do that. It is necessary for my path. And that is the reason why these videos are being made. Again, take man's conception of time, a matter of the earth's revolution on its axis and its path about the sun, a matter of seconds and minutes and hours and days and months and years and centuries. Time, you might say, is as fixed a conception as there could possibly be, unvarying measurement. Yet in human experience, it has long been established that a second can be as long as a minute, an hour as long as a day. Einstein, in his theory of relativity, has expressed in the language of science the variability of time. Essentially, he has shown that the speed of light, 186,000 miles per second, is in man's conception infinitely fast. For at the speed of light, a mass would be infinitely big and time would stand still. On the basis of this theory, it has been worked out that a spaceship traveling 185,999.9 miles per second could circumnavigate the universe in a period of time that would be 30 years to the occupants of such a ship. Yet to those on the earth, the spaceship would be gone 10 million years. Yet despite conceptual inadequacies, science has proven that every physical law of the universe has a corresponding spiritual law, and that is what I'm with. Yeah, I'm on it. You know what I'm saying? I'm on it, for real. Science has shown us that matter and energy are one, that even the heaviest and sturdiest materials are simply a collection of free-moving molecules banging against each other, moving at tremendous speeds. Through the use of the spectroscope, elements have been discovered on far-flung planets that weigh as much as hundreds of tons per cubic inch. Electronics may one day transmit masses around the world in a fraction of a second, even as pictures are now being transmitted. Certainly, this is no age in which to hold the idea that anything in the way of bridging space and time and form is impossible to the mind or the spirit of man. And that's when I start looking at how I have communed spiritually with Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. Now, what they taught me was this. Dr. King represented love. Malcolm X represented by any means necessary. And the Christ, which is Jesus, when you blend that into a man, what do you got? Now, I'm going to soon find out, for sure. Because I've made up my mind. This is my path. This is my purpose. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. So it don't really matter if I'm known or not. The only person I need to be known to, which he already knows me, is the big G, the big O, the big D, and for me to know me. And then all I have to do is manifest my square and or my triangle like the Great Pyramid, in Giza, Egypt. You know anything about that? The challenge of the invisible. There have been in the records of history many enlightened men, teachers, scientists, spiritual advisors, and poets. Each of them has had this thing to say in common. There is a great medium of mind and intelligence that is in and surrounds every human being. This intelligence is all intelligent and knows and does everything. This intelligence, God, is an eternal creator, creating that which the mind of man thinks. A doctor whose professed views on life were on a strictly material plane has said, I have cut many a body open, and I have never found the soul. To which it has been answered, undoubtedly true. But while you were there, did you ever find a thought? The invisible plane of human existence offers the greatest challenge and the greatest hope for all mankind and everybody else. And everybody else in all the different galaxies that they've been trying to hide from us, like 1947, the Roswell incident. And I got something else to put down on that. This thing gonna be unlimited, because I'm gonna be doing this and I'm gonna be manifesting myself. I know somebody one day gonna listen, but right now the only person need to listen is me. A young woman born and raised in the United States, not able to read or write and speaking only the English language, was sitting in the front room with their father not many years ago when through the front door came a longtime friend of her father's who had just arrived from Greece. At the sight of him, the young woman rose from her seat and began speaking rapidly to him in his native tongue, a language she had never heard nor studied. The man from Greece broke down and wept, for the young woman had just informed him that his wife back in Greece had died. Subsequent checking proved this young woman's revelation to be true. She had circumvented the barriers of space and time and language to reveal this tragedy to this gentleman she had never seen before. Another woman whose contact with the universal intelligence was acute was able to provide physical occurrence through nothing but thought. And demonstration under the surveillance of a group of highly trained scientific minds, she activated through nothing but thought a light switch over which a soap bubble had been placed. The switch was turned on, but the bubble remained unbroken. So I'm going to make another video this evening, because this one kind of like got me on point. And the continuation will be called The Truth Lies Looking Inward. Let me say it again. The truth, Ruth, the truth lies looking inward. Thank you, Grandma Ruth, for being my best friend. When I was a little boy, I was 8 years old. When I used to run from my father, all I had to do was slide into Grandma Ruth's room and I was safe. And my father knew not to break that barrier. Thank you, Grandma Ruth, for everything you did for me. And I'm still getting it done. Love y'all. Have a great and perfect day on purpose until you hear from me again.